G'day folks, we're still up here in the Kimberleys. We've come out to the beehives because they took our honey away on the border, so we thought we'd get some more honey, but I can't find anywhere where we're going to get honey from. Hey folks, how you going? Welcome to this episode. We are currently in the Bungles Caravan Park. It's not actually inside the Bungle Bungles, it's on a cattle station just outside of the national park where the Bungles are located. We drove up here today from Lake Argyle. Did anyone watch that video? Wasn't that amazing? If you didn't see it, I'll put a link for it up here in the corner. Anyway, today is a fuel management day. We need to pay attention to what we're doing with the fuel. Because we are travelling into the Bungles, the road into the Bungles, it's about 50-ish kilometres going in, 50 kilometres coming back out again. There aren't any fuel stations located in there. We've then got about 150, 200 kilometres to get from there down to Halls Creek, which is our next fuel stop. So we need to have enough fuel to be able to get in and around the Bungles and then get down Halls Creek. So when we left Lake Argyle, then Kununurra, we stopped in Kununurra and got some fuel there and filled the tank up. And then when we got to Doon Doon Station, we topped the tank up there because it was cheap. It was $1.61 there, $1.61 in Kununurra. Because when we got to Warman, we would have to fill the tank up. That's our last fuel before we get into the Bungles. So, and they were expensive. They were about $1.85 or something. So I was trying to limit the amount of fuel I would need to get in Warman. When we're coming into the Caravan Park, it's about 1 kilometre off the road, but it is a bad road. It's not good. It's very corrugated, so it's a very slow trip in. The Caravan Park itself, it's not a bad place, but it is run by the local station, so it's not a fancy caravan park which you would expect in the cities. Basically you're camping on dirt. But they've got a lot of space around here, particularly for non-powered sites, lots of sites for that. If you want power and water, they are limited. I think there's about 25, and you need to book them quite a fair way in front if you want to get one of them. Lots of amenity blocks around here. They're all mostly transportables, and there are some that have been obviously homemade, but yeah, they're not bad. They do the job, but again, not fancy, but it's there. They have got a nice little camping pit, which I believe you are allowed to go into. It looks like it's mostly for the organised camping tours and things like that, but the lady did say that we were allowed to come into that later on if we wanted to as well. Great little caravan park. The other option is to leave your car in the 24-hour, or your caravan in the 24-hour parking spot out on the main highway and then come on in. Trouble is, it's out on the road, anything can happen to it, you've got no idea whether it's going to be there when you come back. So quite frankly, I reckon you're better off paying I think it was about $50 or something a night. Come into here, got everything you need, and your caravan's nice and safe. Anyway, let's stop jibber jabbering and let's get on the road and have a look at what the Bungles are all about. Well, g'day folks. We are off to the Bungles today. I've already lowered my tyre pressures. I take them down from 50 pound at the back down to 28 all round. They told us when we came in today, yesterday, that it's about a 53 kilometre drive in, but the road is not the greatest and could take you about an hour and a half to 2 hours to get into it. So dropping the tyre pressures means that we hopefully not as bumpy a ride going in, be a bit more cushier. Plus also helps to protect the tyres a little bit, because rather than being a rock hard thing coming up against a sharp rock, it'll tend to flex around the sharp rock, so hopefully we won't do any tyres or anything. But Bungles has been one place that I've wanted to go to for a very long time, so that's ticking one thing off on my to-do list. So we're excited about that. It's not a bad caravan park this around here. I like it. Well set up. Set up by the local station in the area. I can't think what the name of the place was now. But yeah, set up by the local station, so somewhere along the line we'll end up going into national park country. You can do helicopter rides out of here. Not cheap. Oh, it's probably about a 20-minute ride to get into the Bungles on the helicopter in the first place. 15-20 minutes maybe. So now starts the corrugations. We'll see you at the other end. Maple Downs, that's it. I thought it was, I could say Marble. Marbo. I thought that wasn't Marbo.
The road in is just over 50 kilometres. Most of the first part you'll be travelling through a cattle station, so you'll find from time to time cattle on the road. From what I've been told, the road is maintained by the station till you get to the national park boundary, when the park looks after the road, so in our case the road generally improved. There are sections of the road that are good. Some sections are heavily corrugated, and depending on the time of the year, a number of water crossings. While you don't have to be a four-wheel drive expert, it is definitely four-wheel drive country only. This is why, depending on road conditions, you should allow between 1.5 and 2 hours to get into the front gate. There is a day pass fee you have to pay, but if you have the Depot Park Pass, you don't need to pay at all. A 12-month pass costs $92. So if you're going to go to a number of parks, it'll pay for itself pretty quick. They're available from the Depot website. There are 2 camping areas, but you need to be fully self-contained. There are no shops out here. And no caravans. Camper trailers at the absolute most. A little bit about the Bungles. They've been sitting here for about 350 million years, and while the local Aborigines have known about them for the last 40,000 years, They've only been known to the modern world since 1983, when the Leyland brothers discovered them.
Travel all over the countryside, ask the Leyland brothers.
Yeah, okay, I'm probably exaggerating the Leyland's bit just a little bit. Anyway, the beehive look comes from millions of years of wind and rain eroding away at the mix of cyanobacteria and iron ore in the limestone pillars. And throw in a bit of an earthquake activity here and there, and voila, you have the Bungles. And where does the name Bungles come from? Well, once again, nobody exactly knows. There is a story about a cockroach, but turns out the name for that is not used by the local groups in this part of the Kimberleys. But the most common idea is that there was a station around here that was called Bungle Bungle. That name came from the whitefellas' mispronunciation of the Aboriginal word bundle bundle for a type of grass that grows in the area in clumps or bundles. But the local groups call it Boornalulu. It's pronounced locally with a B followed by a short oo, like the sound from book.
So it's one walk trail in, and we're going to see two things on the one walk trail.
Well, no. We're going to the dome and it goes around in a loop, and when we get to the other side of the loop, we can go off to the it'll just take that.
Yeah, but we don't have to drive to another track to go to the next thing. Oh, okay. So I thought we would drive to a track to do the domes and then drive to another track for the cathedral.
No, we can do both here.
So the first walk we're going to do is we're going to go in and see the domes.
Paths are fairly well marked out, and while some are over rocky parts, others are in soft sand. Reasonable walking ability is required, and generally there isn't any real climbing over rocks to be done until you get to the cathedral, but I'll get to that. During the wet season, waterfalls fall into the circular base.
You know, I wouldn't want to do this on a 40-degree day. It'd be stinking hot, but it's quite nice here in the shade. If you are coming in, make sure you bring plenty of water because you're going to need it. It's pretty warm in here. Told you it was hot in here. Rock there.
I hope the rest of it isn't around anywhere close. As you enter the Cathedral Gorge, you now have to start climbing over rocks, but they do have ladders to assist you in getting up. It takes a lot of water to wear a hole that big into a rock. And this is Cathedral Gorge. Well, this looks like a good spot to sit and have lunch. Lucky we brought some with us. Pull up a rock and let's have something to eat. Just to give you an idea of how big this whirlpool is. Well, that's it. Absolutely amazing. Definitely worth coming out and having a look at. Unfortunately, that's all we've had time to do today, so now it's back to the car.
As you can see, we're back at the caravan now. Wasn't that spectacular? Absolutely amazing. Really worth going in. Just keep in mind the temperature of the day and make sure you have plenty of drinking water, because there's nothing you can get water from that's in there. But definitely worth doing. Anyway, if you like that, hit the thumbs up down the bottom down there and consider subscribing to the channel. But until next time, happy travels.